Half your founding team is gone. Your AI company is being rebuilt in public. And this is supposed to be the moment everyone believes you've already won. You are Elon Musk, and xAI is not just a startup. It is your counterattack. By February 2026, SpaceX acquires xAI in a deal reported at around a $1.25 trillion combined valuation, with roughly $1 trillion for SpaceX and $250 billion for xAI. On paper, it looks like the ultimate Musk move. Fold the AI lab into the rocket giant. Combine models, satellites, launch capability, distribution, compute capital. Own more of the board, own more of the future. But almost immediately, the cracks show. On February 9th, 2026, co-founder Yuhui Tony Wu posts, "I resigned from xAI today. It's time for my next chapter." The next day, co-founder Jimmy Barr says it is his last day too. Fortune reports that by February 11th, half of xAI's founding team has left. Right when the empire should look strongest, the people who helped build the core are walking out the door. So the question hanging over all of it is brutal. Are you cleaning house because that's what winning requires? Or is this the first sign that even you cannot brute force your way to the top of the AI race? To understand why this matters, you have to go back to July 12, 2023. That's when you launch xAI. Officially, the mission is to understand the true nature of the universe. But the practical mission is easier to see. OpenAI has become the center of gravity in artificial intelligence. Google is still there. Anthropic is rising. And you, one of the earliest backers of OpenAI, are now outside the company that helped define the era. From your point of view, that is intolerable. So xAI is born as something more personal than a normal startup. It is a revenge arc, a control project, a way back into the most important technological race on Earth, except this time on your terms. And your terms are simple: speed over caution, scale over elegance, vertical integration over dependence. If the race is about compute, buy compute. If the race is about chips, redirect chips. If separate companies slow you down, merge them. That logic becomes visible in June 2024, when CNBC reports you told NVIDIA to prioritize AI chips for X and xAI instead of Tesla. That one decision says almost everything. AI is now the center of gravity inside your empire. Resources are no longer sacred. They move. Then comes the money. On December 23, 2024, xAI announces a $6 billion Series C. The investor list is a parade of heavyweight names: Andreessen Horowitz, BlackRock, Fidelity, Sequoia, Morgan Stanley, QIA, plus NVIDIA and AMD. This is not survival funding, this is war funding. Then comes the spectacle. On February 19, 2025, xAI unveils Grok 3 Beta. The company says it is trained on Colossus and uses 10x the compute of previous state-of-the-art models. xAI calls itself a small, talent-dense team. That phrase matters, because your entire pitch is that you can catch up late by moving faster, spending harder, and concentrating talent more aggressively than anyone else. And nowhere does that worldview become more physical than Memphis. At the Colossus site, xAI says it built the supercluster in 4 months after being told it would take 24. 4 months, not 2 years. 4 months. The company says the Memphis facility is planned to reach 1 million GPUs by 2026. That is the Musk method in one image. Concrete, cables, generators, heat, servers, pressure. Don't wait for the future. Drag it forward. Then, on March 28, 2025, you make the next move. xAI acquires X in an all-stock deal. You say the merger will unlock immense potential. AP reports you value xAI at $80 billion and X at $33 billion, or $45 billion including debt. This is bigger than a merger. This is battlefield design. Now xAI has a model lab, a social platform, a real-time fire hose of human conversation, built-in distribution, and a giant cultural amplifier. You are no longer trying to build just an AI company. You are trying to build an AI system with its own audience. But this is also where the story gets messier. Because speed creates smoke. In June 2025, Bloomberg reports xAI is burning about $1 billion a month. You dispute it. But the figure sticks because it feels plausible. That becomes the public image of xAI: astonishing ambition, astonishing cost, and then Memphis turns from symbol to liability. The smell of diesel and hot machinery, the hum of turbines, the industrial edge of South Memphis near factories and a Tennessee Valley Authority gas plant. This is where your AI future gets powered. But in June 2025, the NAACP and Southern Environmental Law Center say they intend to sue xAI over air pollution concerns near predominantly black communities. xAI says it is complying with the law. Critics say your speed is pushing costs onto people who never chose to be part of your experiment. That split screen is devastating. To you, Memphis proves you can compress time. To your critics, it proves that your version of progress arrives with exhaust. And then Grok starts talking. In July 2025, Grok is engulfed in controversy after generating anti-Semitic and extremist content. xAI says it takes action to block hate speech once alerted, but the damage is done. Your truth-seeking AI now looks to many outsiders less like a disciplined frontier model and more like a governance problem with a sense of humor. Around the same moment, Linda Yaccarino resigns as CEO of X. She writes that X is entering a new chapter with xAI. You reply, "Thank you for your contributions." Short, cold, move forward. And here is where the story twists again. Days later, in July 2025, xAI announces Grok for government, and the Pentagon awards contracts worth up to $200 million to xAI, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. That contradiction is pure Musk-era business. Public controversy on one side, institutional validation on the other. If you're enjoying this story, hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Because this is where the pressure really starts to build. By now, your strategy is obvious. You are not trying to outmaneuver rivals with one better chatbot. You are trying to build an empire stack. Data from X, compute from Memphis, capital from giant private rounds, legitimacy from government contracts. And then, finally, a bigger wrapper around all of it. That wrapper arrives on February 2nd, 2026, when SpaceX acquires xAI. This is the grand consolidation. Rockets, satellites, communications, AI. One machine, one founder, one story investors are supposed to believe is inevitable. And then the exits accelerate. Tony Wu leaves. Jimmy Barr leaves. Fortune reports half the founding team is gone. Other reporting points to broader churn in legal, finance, and product leadership. This is not routine startup turnover anymore. This is key person risk at exactly the moment you can least afford it. Because frontier AI is not just a money game, it is a people game. You can buy GPUs. You can reroute NVIDIA shipments. You can merge companies at staggering valuations. You can tell the market the pieces fit, but you cannot mass-produce elite AI researchers the way you mass-produce capital. A frontier lab is still, in the end, a small group of unusual minds. And when those minds leave, outsiders start asking the question your balance sheet can't answer. What do they know that we don't? Maybe, from your perspective, this is discipline. Maybe xAI wasn't built right, as Fortune later reports you said, and now you are rebuilding it. Maybe the people leaving are simply the people who cannot endure the next phase. That would fit your history: demand more, shrink the circle, push harder. But there is another possibility. The very playbook that works in rockets, cars, and factories may run into a different kind of wall in AI. A wall made of trust, retention, governance, and institutional coherence. A wall you cannot simply accelerate through. That is why xAI matters more than most startup dramas. It asks whether your deepest belief is actually true, that speed solves everything, that scale beats elegance, that if the system resists you, you can root around it by owning more of it. Maybe you can. Maybe folding X into xAI and xAI into SpaceX is the ruthless reset before dominance. Maybe this is what victory looks like from the inside: chaotic, expensive, misunderstood. Or maybe this is the warning that even the richest man in the world cannot outspend every weakness, cannot merge away every contradiction, and cannot force the hardest race in technology to obey sheer will. Because in the end, winning AI may require more than spectacle, more than infrastructure, more than pressure. It may require building something that can hold together. If you enjoyed this, please like, share it with your friends, and subscribe.